I'm waiting in the dark. I thought that you'd be here by now. There's nothing but the rain, no footsteps on the ground. I'm listening but there's no sound. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't somebody come take me home? It's a damn cold night. You're trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand, take me somewhere new? I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm looking for a place, I'm searching for a face. Is anybody here? I know, 'cause nothing's going right, and everything's a mess, and no one likes to be alone. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't somebody come take me home? It's a damn cold night. You're trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand, take me somewhere new? I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. Oh, why is everything so confusing? Maybe I'm just out of my mind. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a damn cold night, trying to figure out this life. Won't you take me by the hand, take me somewhere new? I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. I'm with you. Take me by the hand, take me somewhere new. I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. I'm with you. Take me by the hand, take me somewhere new. I don't know who you are, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
And she is beloved, just off of your little hatred. Now, as I told you guys before, what was going to happen was that you were going to make her and Wnba sympathetic figures and heroes. And now I'm telling you, you're going to make the Phoenix Mercury the WNBA's favorite team. Okay? You're going to make the Phoenix Mercury the majority of America's team as it pertains to those who aren't racist, those who aren't bigots, those who aren't people who are just out here to antagonize, provoke, and in their own way try to attack black women and black women of this league. The general fans of this league will now be fans of Alyssa Thomas, will now be fans of the Phoenix Mercury. And so I would say this team would be a beloved team, a very special team. And it didn't start out that way. It started out where Phoenix was seemingly an afterthought to some people, especially with the losing record. And no one really cared. Satu isn't there. And they were just sort of going unnoticed, especially with the losing record, even though they just played in the finals. But when you do something like this is how you make heroes. This is how you turn players who weren't beloved by a lot now beloved by many. This is how you turn a team from going unnoticed to being completely noticed. And then now they're on a 2-game winning streak. They got a winning streak of 2 games in a row, and that could continue. But they're also a sympathetic figure too, because they were just done wrong by Nogic. But they're protecting Nogic because they want her for next season. But Nogic left them to go play in Russia. So if you look here, you'll see. Yeah, you got to love this. If you look here, hold on. We'll get back to these images. So you see how they're protecting Nogic, right? You see that? Jovana Nogic will not return for the remainder of the 2026 WNBA season due to personal reasons. It's not personal reasons. The fact is that she left the team to go play in Russia. Okay, so this is after praising the facilities, praising the atmosphere, the arena, the travel. I mean, this woman just was giddy, gleeful, ear-to-ear smiles with actual praising of the Phoenix Mercury and just of the league. And I just believe that Russia offered her a wild contract because she just bailed on the Phoenix Mercury. I just believe that they offered her a crazy contract. So they're protecting her, but the truth is already out that she went and signed with a team in Russia, a league in Russia. That's already out. So the Phoenix, they're just trying to protect her because they want her for next season, but she's gone. She's in Russia. She's gone. So Phoenix, they're dealing with a lot. They're dealing with a lot right now. You got a person who wanted more money and bailed. Okay. And so that's one of your best players. And listen, you just have to wait to get Akoa Makani back. So you got to wait to get her and Sammy Whitcomb back and keep it moving, man. It's almost like Phoenix Mercury against the world, or Phoenix Mercury against America. Essentially the world, because one of your top players bailed on you for more money in Russia. So yeah, essentially Phoenix Mercury versus the world. That's the way it looks like. This is pretty wild. But this is what you did, Caitlin Clark. This is what you did, Sophie Cunningham. You managed to turn this woman right here into a hero, into an absolute hero, a sympathetic figure. She was done wrong. Everything was overblown. And I told you this would happen. You would make black people, not the sellout tap dancing black people, but the thorough black people. You would make them gravitate towards her, attach themselves to her and Dewana Bonner, okay, and want to protect them. They were all going to become fans of these women if they weren't already. That's what literally has happened, okay? And Kalia Copper is showing so much support and love for AT, for Alyssa Thomas. But yeah, that's what it is. I told you this is what would happen because of what Sophie Cunningham did and Caitlin Clark did. And now you got this woman suspended, this Hall of Famer suspended, and antagonized and provoked her wife to anger, who is also a Hall of Famer. Because you did that, you were going to turn a lot of African Americans against you and make them fall in love with these two women. That's Kalia Copper, but with Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner. That's literally what has happened. The only ones who's not with them are the tap dance and sellout black people, the troll black people. But all of the other black people, they're with them. And then now this whole situation has gone viral. This is on Fox News. You got Tommy Loren taking Caitlin's side. Everything is turned racist. Matt Walsh, everyone. But then you got black people who you would have never thought would side with Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner, siding with them, from Jason Whitlock to Emmanuel Acho and many others. But this is what happened. You have to understand something. Like, they just saw, it would have been different if Sophie wasn't provoking Dewana Bonner to anger, and if Caitlin didn't start all of it by illegally, which should have been a foul on Caitlin, illegally hooking Dewana Bonner's arm in a violent manner and tried to not let her pull her arm away. So Dewana had to violently pull her arm away because Caitlin was holding onto her arm on purpose and wouldn't let her get her arm away. Then Caitlin walks behind Dewana Bonner and was cussing at her as she's walking behind her, like she's trying to walk her down. Okay? So once people saw that, and then they saw Sophie Cunningham antagonize and provoke Dewana Bonner to anger, and then they saw a woman defend her wife, Alyssa Thomas, and they saw Maisha Hines-Allen tap dance the way she tap danced and look like she belongs in a straitjacket in a padded room. That's when black people said enough is enough. Like, it would have been one thing if you didn't start this, Caitlin Clark, if you didn't try to walk her wife down and talk reckless to her, talk loose and buff to her as you're trying to walk her down from behind. It would have been one thing if you weren't cheering on Sophie and Maisha Hines-Allen in doing what they were doing, trying to fight someone and provoke someone to anger. And it would have been another thing if Sophie Cunningham wasn't antagonizing, trying to go viral, provoking someone to anger. Okay, and then bragging about it after the game, saying, I'm happy I got my nails done, and kept bragging about it, right? And then the Fever posted her pointing the finger, helping to metastasize the negativity. Okay, so, and like, that's just what it is. Things would have been a lot different had you not done that, right? And then black people would have said, okay, they were going for a loose ball. Her fist, clearly she wanted to rub it in a little bit, but really, honestly, her fist slid on the side of Caitlin's jaw and on her shoulder. It never even touched her neck. It was on the side of her neck. And it's her sweaty fist and Caitlin's sweaty freaking whatever she has on her face. I don't know what she's wearing. But if you just look at it, it clearly slid. And that's what it is. So it was never on her windpipe. It was never truly on her throat, right? And that's what it is. And then things would have been different if everything was fair, right? So had you suspended Sophie Cunningham for attempting to murder J.C. Sheldon, literally, I'm not exaggerating. This isn't embellishing. This isn't hyperbole. This is 1000% Sophie Cunningham choking out JC Sheldon because she was mad JC Sheldon chipped her tooth in a previous game. It had nothing to do with her protecting Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark wasn't even on the court. She left. She wasn't even on the court when all of that happened. You threw her down on the floor, which you could have broke her wrist for her bracing her fall, or she could have broke her nose hitting in on the court. She jumps up and you grab her by her hair with one hand and you're choking her out with the other hand. You could have injured photographers and you could have injured fans sitting courtside behind the stanchion. And then you bragged about it and then lied and said you were protecting Caitlin only because racist white fans says we finally got an enforcer. Caitlin had nothing to do with that. Caitlin wasn't even on the court. And so the fact that, yeah, you got ejected and got a flagrant 2, but they didn't give you a suspension for multiple games for literally trying to murder someone on the court. That's literally what Sophie did and then bragged about it, right? And who started all of that, right? Now, we know Sophie just wanted recompense. She was out for blood because JC mistakenly by accident chipped her tooth with her head. Sophie was out for blood. But who started all of that stuff with JC? Caitlin Clark. Okay. JC is locking you down. You're pushing off of her. Then you threw an elbow at the sternum of Jaylen Brown. You couldn't get away from JC locking you down. So you kept pushing off and got frustrated. And then you threw your elbow at the chest area of Jaylen Brown. You get mad and you're talking reckless. You're barking at JC. And then you say, I do whatever the F I want to do. And then you push JC. And then Marina pushed you. Then on the other end of the court, JC is locking you down again. You're getting frustrated. So you push off and then you start slamming your body into her chest 2 times in a row, right? Hoping that will make her back off you. JC then swipes at the basketball and makes a mistake and hits you in the face. You push JC. Tina Charles run up in your face because you've been doing dirty stuff the whole game. And Marina said, we're not talking anymore. And flattened you and laid you out on that court and you look like an idiot. Okay. So then after that, you were embarrassed. So you make a couple threes and you start pumping the crowd up. And then Stephanie sits you. You're no longer in the game. Sophie is in the game. JC, they get the turnover. JC is out in transition. Sophie runs back and she's waiting on JC. And JC is going up for a layup and Sophie grabs JC, uses her momentum against her and slams her onto the court. JC could have dislocated or broke her wrist trying to brace the fall, or she could have broke her nose on the basketball court. That's literally, it was a violent takedown. Okay. JC is pissed. She gets up, lunges at Sophie. Sophie used one of her hands to grab JC's hair and uses the other hand to choke JC out, choking her out. Everyone is trying to remove Sophie's hand from her throat and her hair. They're all into the photographers and fans sitting courtside behind a stanchion could have been impacted by that. That was disgusting. So what did you do? What did you do? You ejected her and didn't suspend her. But this woman right here, Alyssa Thomas, is making a basketball play in the 4th phase of the game, which is the 50-50 phase, the hustle phase. Caitlin has the basketball. She sees the 2 women she antagonized, the 2 women she trolled. Okay. And one of the women she called a bitch, and the other woman she was barking at trying to walk down. She sees them coming at her to get the basketball or to force a jump ball. She don't want any part of these 2 women that she was just antagonizing. So she immediately threw that ball away. But by then it was too late because they already lunged at the ball. So Alyssa Thomas now sees that Caitlin punked out and threw the basketball away. So she's getting up. And as she's getting up, her fist slides down the side of Caitlin's neck, okay, lodged between Caitlin's lower jaw and her shoulder. Period. Alyssa Thomas gets up and runs back the other way. Because Caitlin is the type of woman who would accuse a black man of rape, even though it was consensual sex. She's one of those Caucasians. She's that type. She's a satanic Karen troll devil. She's squirming. Even though it was 2 to 3 seconds, she's squealing and squirming, embellishing, being a Karen in plain sight. And then is complaining to the refs like, you're not going to give me whatever I want, refs? Seriously? Like, it's just absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. That's what happened. And then, to make it worse, Sophia's just bragging about it, just bragging. Okay. And obviously, people see what's going on YouTube and social media. And so there's a lot of black people say, we're not having that. So a lot of black people with podcasts and they're influential on whatever social media app they're on, they're defending Alyssa Thomas and Wnba Bonner. And now they're very supportive of the Phoenix Mercury now. And so, but I told you were going to make her a hero. That's what happened. Okay, so, you got nerds and dweebs trying to be bullies. And then when the two women you tried to provoke the anger are standing over you going for the basketball, you're scared and squirming and squealing. That's a coward. And it jolted white people, especially racist white people and closeted racist white people. It just jolted them. Okay. It was shocking. They was taken aback and they said, we don't like the way that looks. Okay. We don't like this white woman looking like she's in fear of her life. She looked like a punk. She looked like a coward squirming and squealing for 3 seconds. She looked ridiculous. And it was embarrassing. It was humiliating and shameful. And so racist white people then said it's their George Floyd moment. That's how much they freaked out and exaggerated and reached. That's how much they overreacted and went over the top. It's their George Floyd moment. And so everyone ran with it, from senators to Fox News to Matt Walsh and Tommy Loren and Benny Johnson and all of them. They all just ran with it. Megyn Kelly, everyone just ran with it. Right? And then black people said, oh, no. That's just not going to fly. So now we have another race war like we had with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark in 2023. When Angel Reese was called a black bitch by Dave Portnoy because ESPN, they're such snakes to get you to come back to continue watching the rest of the game, the celebration and everything like that. They were going to commercial break. And so they went to commercial break and they edited Angel Reese's words and put it in slow motion and made it look like she called Caitlin Clark a hoe. What she said was, this ain't no one woman show. So ESPN are going to commercial, but they need you to come back to finish out everything else and the celebrations and all of that. And so they edited all of that out except the O part. So they got rid of SH. They got rid of this ain't no one woman shh. They got rid of all of that and left the O in and slowed it down. I swear to God, this is what they did when they went to commercial break. And it looked like a black woman was towering over this white woman, calling her a hoe. When Angel Reese said, this ain't no one woman show. ESPN are some dirty snakes. And then they used Rebecca Lobo and Ryan Ruocco to give Caitlin Clark more all-star votes. Yeah, Ryan, I bet you that changes. I bet you that doesn't stay the same. Rebecca's a dirty snake. So like this is what was going on. So white people saw that, and on top of the fact that they didn't like this black woman beating this white woman and then throwing her ring finger in front of her face, they just didn't like the way that looked. And it was jolting, it was shocking to them, it was uncomfortable to them, and they had thoughts and feelings of the 1950s in their minds. They thought 2023 was really 1953. That's how they felt. Oh, how dare this black woman engage in banter? How dare she trash talk? How dare she troll and stick it to this white woman? How dare she do that? Don't you realize that this is 1953? And they freaked out. They freaked out, right? This predominantly white team lost to this predominantly black team. And they freaked out because they thought it was still 1953. And because of what ESPN did, Dave Portnoy runs to Twitter and calls Angel Reese a black bitch. White people jump in his comments and echoes that and using other racist terms for Angel Reese and just black people in general. Disgusting memes and GIFs, all of these things. So black people are like, wait a second, you're not going to do that. We're going to protect our own. And it became a race war on Twitter. And everyone became tribal and picked sides. White people chose Caitlyn. Black people chose Angel. And so overnight, Angel goes from under 1 million to well over 1 million IG followers. And Caitlyn Clark had like 200 or 300,000. And overnight, she has like 600 something thousand. That's literally what happened overnight. Caitlyn Clark's freshman year, they never sniffed 1 million in views for her games. Never. Caitlyn Clark's sophomore year, they never had a sellout home game at Carver. And it was empty seats everywhere you looked on the road. And they never sniffed 1 million. Caitlyn Clark's junior year, they had one sold out game at Carver. They only averaged around 8,000. Okay. At one point they got 10, then that dropped to like 8,000. And couldn't sell out anything on the road. And she never sniffed 1 million until the NCAA tournament. That's Caitlyn. And before Angel Reese pointed to her ring finger, Caitlyn had, 200 or 300,000 IG followers. She didn't even have 100,000 Twitter followers. And she never sniffed 1 million in views, only sold out one game at Carver her junior year, and could never pack it on the road. Never. Everything flipped her senior year after the African-American woman pointed to her ring finger. So had LSU not made the Natty game in 2023, you don't really support Caitlyn the way you're supporting her now. You just don't. She doesn't have the social media following she has now. She doesn't have the popularity she has now. It took that. And then this is how racist white America is. None of her games performed well in the NCAA tournament in 2023 in comparison to when she faced predominantly black teams like South Carolina and LSU. Think about that. Because when she faced Haley Van Lith and did the Tony Yayo, John Cena, guess what happened? That game didn't do the numbers South Carolina LSU did when they played Holy Cross. That's what it was. Like, seriously, just think about that. Go through every game pre-South Carolina LSU. It just couldn't do those numbers. Couldn't do those numbers. When the only white woman on South Carolina's team was Chloe Kitts. I want you to consider that. So white people love a good race war. They love it when it's black versus white. These people seriously thought that Gabby Marshall was a white woman. Skip Bayless literally thought she was white. So a lot of people believe that. And so when you look at it, you're looking at Iowa and it's like, damn, that's a predominantly white team, essentially an all-white team. And you got damn near every black player on the team is biracial anyway, but like that's how they saw it. Wow, this white team from Iowa. And then because you're white and you're from Iowa, in their minds, they believe, well, you must be MAGA. You must be MAGA. And so, yeah, we haven't seen something like this since the 60s or something. In men's college basketball, this is crazy. And so they jumped on it because white people are racist at their core. They're racist. So this is why the two games that produced the biggest numbers in 2023 was Iowa versus South Carolina and Iowa versus LSU. Why? Because it was predominantly white versus virtually 100% black for both teams. And white people wanted to see, could this all-white team with this white player, this white star of that team, beat these black teams? Now, they were in love when they beat South Carolina. It was like, this is going to happen. And then Rebecca Lobo, with her closeted racist ways, did you see her? She says, I'm not guarding you. She waved her off. I'm not guarding you. And just stuck it in there, just rubbed it in there. Okay. I'm not defending you. And that's what happened. And so white people loved it. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Look at what this white woman did to this black woman. Oh my gosh, this is great. They just beat this black team. This is amazing. White power, white power. That's what they believe, right? The great white hope. Oh my gosh. Finally, white people are better in basketball or football. Yes, this is our moment. This is our moment. That's what they believed. And then they thought, hey, we're going to beat this all-black team, LSU. This is great. And you didn't. You didn't. And Alexis Morris and Jasmine Carson embarrassed you. And Angel Reese was doing great until she got in foul trouble. But they beat you. And you couldn't do anything. You couldn't win. And that's what happened. And Alexis Morris she walks past Caitlin on the court and she stares her up and down, like balding her face up, looking like, chick, I thought you were better than this. Because Alexis Morris took over the fourth quarter. Jasmine Carson hit, 8 threes? They got buried. And Alexis Morris is like, damn, I thought you were better than that. Like, you kind of trash. That's how she's staring her down. Like, I'm disappointed. I thought you were better than that. And so white people got crushed and humbled. Caitlin Clark is crying because she's delusional. She thought that, is it possible I can beat 2 dominant black teams in a row? No, that's not possible. That's not. It just isn't. Could have been if you didn't play the way you played, but that's not happening. And God wasn't going to give white people that type of victory. Not organically. That just wasn't going to happen. So oftentimes white people cheat, like Donald Trump. He shouldn't be president. He cheated. And with the help of Elon Musk, cheated. So, God wasn't going to do that. No, not happening. It's just going to arouse white people even more. The racist ones. Yeah, we're finally better than black people. Yeah. Just immature people, right? So God said, no, you're going to lose to LSU. It's just what happened. And then here comes the next year and everyone was like, finally, I found out about this team, Iowa Hawkeyes, with this girl, Caitlin Clark. You know what? I'm going to support her for the first time ever. Because you didn't do anything her freshman, sophomore, junior year until the tournament. And so, that's when you get fake people like these YouTubers acting like they were with her from day one. No, you weren't. You followed her during the NCAA tournament, and really only with the LSU game. Let's call it what it is. Same with these podcasters. Same with these Twitter spaces like Correlation. Fake. Crash Out. Fake. All of them. Fake. So that's what happened. And so the next season, tournament time again, baby. Caitlyn is getting more popular, all because of the black woman from 2023. 2024 NCAA tournament, they thought it was going to be the same thing. They thought it was going to be the same thing. And then you face this predominantly black team, okay? South Carolina in a national championship game, and Raven Johnson gets her revenge. How sweet it is. And you lose to the predominantly black team, and you look like an idiot, and you're crying again. And God said, no, I will not let you beat black teams, right? All it's going to do is arouse racist white people. It's not going to happen. And so you lost. And that's what happened. And so you go from 18, 20, 16 million, whatever the numbers were, 20 million, whatever. Here comes the WNBA, your rookie year. What happened to the 20 million people, the 16 million, 18 million people who were watching those games? What happened? Well, what they saw was that the Indiana Fever with you would be predominantly black. And obviously your opponents are predominantly black. They didn't like that anymore. What they want to see is white versus black. And because you were on a team predominantly black, they just weren't interested anymore. Yeah, I wanted to see an all-white team or predominantly white team go up against these black women of the WNBA, these predominantly black teams. That would have been more interesting for me. So because I can't get that kind of race war fix, I'm out of here. I don't want to watch it. Because essentially it's predominantly black versus predominantly black. And it's just not interesting to me. I don't want to watch it. And so they left. And so, her games, every now and again, she might hit 3 mil. Every now and again, she might get 2 mil. She's really hovering over 1 million. And sometimes, some games, she would get less than 1 million, right? But normally it's 1 million or over 1 million. And every now and again, she'll get 2 million or so. Every blue moon, she'll get 3 million. But it's normally 1 million, over 1 million. Where did all of those millions go from the LSU game in 2023 and that South Carolina game in 2023? Where did all those millions go from the South Carolina National Championship game? Where did all those people go? Well, it's just not white versus black anymore. It's not enough of that. White people at their core are racist, period. And so it just wasn't appealing to them anymore. Just wasn't. Now, this was appealing to them, to see a white woman point her finger at a black woman and be juvenile and antagonize a black woman. White people love petty, immature stuff, right? Because racism is immature. It's callow. Okay? Now, I'm sticking it to racist white people. So when I'm calling you pale and all of these things, that's me sticking it to you. Okay? But at its core, like I said before on my God channel and CFWB channel, at its core, racism is immature. It's juvenile. Because God made all races of people. And the only thing that matters is your intent, your motives, your deeds, your conduct, your behavior, how you treat people. That's all that matters, okay? That's all that counts. Because once you take the flesh off, you're not black, you're not white, you're not Hispanic, you're not Asian, none of that. You're a soul, period. And the creators will judge you by your deeds, your actions, what you did and what you didn't do. That's how he's going to judge you. It's not going to be, oh, you're white, oh, you're black, or you're Hispanic. It's not going to be that. It's going to be your idiosyncrasies. It's going to be your conduct. What you did and didn't do. That's how he's going to judge you. And when you break spiritual laws, you have to pay for those crimes, those spiritual crimes. And sometimes he's forgiving and sometimes he won't, depending on the crime you committed spiritually. And so just like on earth, you have prison, and some people go to prison for life. In the afterlife, you have this place that human beings have called hell, but that's not the actual name of it, but you go to a very bad place. And if you were good, you go to a very good place. And good isn't even a proper word for it. It's amazing. That's what happens. But it's not about black and white. It's not how it is. So because you're in a human body and the emotions can get the best of you in these human bodies, the soul, the spirit will sometimes say and do callow things, okay, and give in, acquiesce to those emotions, those feelings of anger. And so sometimes souls within a brown body called black people or Africans, sometimes they'll lash out because they're sick of these souls within these bodies called Caucasians or white people because of what was done to that ethnic group, that color of flesh, centuries, millenniums ago. And they're still at it with these petulant, petty, silly games. And so black people will say, well, you call us the N-word and you call us monkey and say we're chimping out and all of these horrible things. Well, we're going to call you this word and that word. And we're going to make fun of you and all of these things like that. The angels and God, he's looking at it like it's not about that. And everyone just needs to wake up because it's not about that. It's a mess. This is some immature crap that shouldn't be. Grow up, mature up spiritually. And that's what it is. But it's not easy because you're still in the flesh. And you're connected to these emotions within these human bodies. And you can get frustrated and you can get very angry and you lash out. Sometimes you regret saying these things. Now, truly evil people don't regret these things. They love it. The spirit, the soul is evil and they get off on it. They love it. They don't care, especially people who don't believe that there is a creator. The atheists or those who are on the fence, the agnostics, it doesn't matter to them. And so like, that's that situation. And, you know, oftentimes I feel bad about some of the things I say, you know, but I just can't just let racist white people or racist non-black people just get away with this stuff. I can't do it. There's a better way. But sometimes I really want to burn them. And then I'll say something that technically truly is racist. God, I just want to burn them. But that is callow. It's not what I want to do. And I feel bad about it. But what else am I supposed to do? And so I pray about it. Sometimes I'll send out a curse. And the curse will happen. It'll hit these people. It'll happen. So I'll do that. I'll use powers to do forms of damage to these people, which is what I do. But in the moment, I just want to say something that just really hurts you. But that's juvenile. That's immature. That's not the way things are supposed to be. Right? Because when you take the flesh off, you're not black and you're not white. That's a true story. That's just the way that it is. It's difficult, man. You're in these human bodies and you're connected to these emotions, these feelings. It's difficult, but you got to figure it out. You got to work your way through it, man. But yeah, white people just weren't interested. It's not black versus white anymore. I don't want to watch anymore. Now, I do like what Sophie did. That's great. That's some ninth grade stuff I like. I like how she antagonized this black woman. That's awesome. I'll put that on a t-shirt. That'll be my cover photo. That'll be my profile pic. I love it. You know, these 8th grade, ninth grade games. Sophie got off on it. She loved it. And then she used it for her podcast and got her best views ever. Right? It truly takes a evil person to do that. That's why I say you're evil. Sophie is evil. She's wicked. Caitlin Clark is evil. She's wicked. Right? Donald Trump is evil. He's wicked. Elon Musk is evil. He's wicked. Okay? And so you see this by them being enablers, showing no contrition. There's no mea culpa. There's no apologies. There's no mending fences. There's not trying to smooth things out to make things right. There's no olive branches. There's nothing. They're silent. They're quiet. Or they're perpetuating. And which means they're complicit. And that's what's going on. That's what you see from her. She doesn't say anything. She says something one time after her arm was twisted. She doesn't say anything. So she just lets it, and then she starts off, she stirs the pot. She starts all of the trouble, and she throws stones and hides her hands. And then there's race wars all over the place, threats, death threats, everything. And she won't say a damn thing. That's the devil. That's what devils do. Everything around Caitlin Clark is negative. Everything. And everyone knew it in the Big Ten. She used to get booed for Indiana Hoosier games. They would boo the crap out of her. She would be at these playing against the Hoosiers, starting all kind of trouble. Hoosier fans, Indiana fans, Indianapolis fans, they hated Caitlin Clark. Didn't like her because she's such a negative person. Every team in the Big Ten, all of the players and the fans, they know about Caitlin Clark. It's a negative person. And now you're starting to see more videos come out of the dirty stuff she used to do. That's just to players and fans. We're not even talking about what she would do to her coaches and teammates. And then them just sucking it up because they wanted that proximity. Because it boosted their profile. Gabby Marshall got more popular. Kate Martin became more. So that's what it was. And they took the verbal abuse. They took the emotional, psychological abuse from Caitlin Clark. She essentially had a proverbial gun to the head of Lisa Bluter. And Lisa Bluter took the abuse along with Jansen and the rest of them and Harmon. They took the abuse because they were afraid that she would jump in the portal. And so they let her yell at them, cuss at them, kick and punch chairs, throw water bottles, yank away, all of these things. They put up with it because they were afraid she would jump in a portal. She would berate her teammates. She would flaunt and throw it in front of their faces that she's the reason for all of the attention. BTS, gotta watch that stuff. And they look sad and she didn't care. And they put up with it because of proximity. And they didn't want her to jump in a portal. And she knew it and she took advantage of it. That's like the rapist knowing that he can continue to rape that child or that woman, sexually abuse her, because he know that she's afraid of him. So once you know that someone is afraid of you and they know that you know that they're afraid of you, you can keep doing it. She knew that her teammates were afraid that she would jump in the portal. She knew that her teammates knew that it was responsible for them becoming more popular and boosting their profile, their brands, their accounts. She knew that they're always on eggshells around her, including the coach and the program, and she took advantage of it. Little form of terrorism. That's a terrible person, man. She brought that her rookie year to Christy's sides. She started yelling at Christy. She wouldn't listen to Christy. Christy tried to talk to her. She yanked her arm away and said, "We're not running that stupid effing play." She slammed the water bottle down and punched the chair, and same crap she brought over from Iowa. Why? Because she knew that she's responsible for boosting the Fever's profile, for boosting their brand, for filling those seats and getting those ratings and those merchandise sales. And she rubbed it in and she took advantage of it, just like a rapist, just like a domestic violence freaking abuser. Like, she knew it. And she kept on with it. And she wants to do it with Stephanie, but Stephanie won't let her. She wants to replicate what she did with Lisa Bluter and with Christy Sides, but Stephanie won't let her. Stephanie is saying, number one, I'll never let anyone run over me, so you're insane. That's number one. Just as a person, you'll never run over me, chick. Cut it out. You look like an idiot. Number two, I've done something you've never done before, right? We're talking about state championships. We're talking about national championship. We're talking about, as an assistant, championship. We're talking about, as a head coach, WNBA finals. See, like, you've never done that before. I don't give a damn about my stats in the WNBA. What I do know is that I got a WNBA championship as an assistant, and I went to the WNBA finals as a head coach. And I got multiple championships from high school and college. That's what I do know. What I also know is that I know more about basketball than you. And I was also able to get the Connecticut Sun really far. And I won Coach of the Year. That's what I know. What I also know is that when you only played 13 games, you were done. I was one win away from the WNBA finals with a makeshift roster. Like, that's what I know. And so if you ever in your life, and oh, by the way, I'm from Indiana, and I'm the original number 22. I'm the original brunette from Indiana in a 22 Fever jersey. I just want you to understand that. I just want to make that clear. I've achieved things you've never achieved, and I don't give a damn about a scoring record. Because at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, it's about championships, baby. And you have none of any significance like a national championship. You just don't have it. And you don't have a WNBA championship, right? I can say that I have one as a coach, and I can say that I took a team in my first year to the finals. And then I could say my first year with the Fever, again, my second stint with the Fever, we were one win away from the finals. I can say that I won Coach of the Year. I just know more about basketball than you do. And don't you ever forget that I'm from Indiana and I'm the original 22. I'm the original brunette in that 22 Fever jersey. Don't you ever forget it. So if you ever think that this is a Christy Size situation, you are insane. If you ever think that this is a Lisa Bluter situation, you are out of your freaking mind. You are delusional. Not happening. And so Caitlin know that she can't get over and bully Stephanie White. Her fans know. And so it pisses them off. They're pissed. This isn't a Christy Sides deal. This isn't a Lisa Bluter deal. That sucks. Hey, let's try to get Stephanie White fired so we can get some infirm coach here who's going to let Caitlin run over her and control everything. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's ridiculous. Right? And so what we're witnessing now is what I told you what would happen. You will manage to turn Alyssa Thomas into a hero. You will turn Wnba Bonner into a hero. And I thought about this yesterday and today, again, you've turned the Phoenix Mercury into one of the most beloved teams by new fans in the WNBA, or just general fans. Who would have thought that the Phoenix Mercury will become one of the most beloved fan favorites? Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that Alyssa Thomas would turn into a hero and Wnba Bonner sympathetic figures? But that's what happens when you provoke someone to anger and then hide your hands. That's what happens when you hook Wnba Bonner's arm violently, so much so that she had to yank away, and then you walk her down barking at her, cursing her out. And then when you celebrate your attention-seeking, clout-chasing teammate, Sophie, wanting in on something that had nothing to do with her just so she could get more clout, provoke Wnba Bonner to anger. And you celebrated it. And then celebrated Maisha Hines-Allen trying to violently fight Alyssa Thomas. And you celebrated it. And then the Fever helped to rub black people's faces in it by making an IG post about it, which was insane that they did that, which is one of the reasons why God made them lose against the Mercury. You don't do stuff like that. And then Sophie is saying, I'm so happy I got my nails done. And trolled the situation and ran to her YouTube channel podcast to cash in. And it made racist white people extremely happy to see that. And so they were just in love, from their YouTube videos to their Twitter spaces to their Twitter accounts and IG and TikTok and podcasts. They just loved it, man. They loved it. And then now it's time for reprisals. And white people didn't like the look of this white woman squirming and squilling on the floor. Because now you're facing the two black women you antagonized. You got rid of that basketball real quick and start squirming and squilling, being a Karen, acting, embellishing, freaking out. And then white people say, wait a second, we don't like the look of that. I thought this was 1953. I thought this was 1956. I don't like the look of that. Like, I like when the white woman was provoking a black woman to anger, pointing her finger. I like that. I like the image of Caitlin Clark walking behind Wnba Bonner, cursing her out. I like that. And I like them cheering on this black woman trying to fight her own black sisters over them. I like that. That I like. I also like when Sophie almost murdered JC Sheldon. I like that. So I like all of that type of stuff. I don't like the way this looks, because this makes the white woman look scared and frightened and weak. It makes her look inferior, brittle, fragile. I don't like that look of that. So now let's just go with she punched her in the throat. Let's create AI videos and images, and let's run this through all of these ultra far-right conservative podcasts and channels and accounts, and let's make this all about race, and let's say this is their George Floyd moment. That's what they did. That's white people for you. Overreacting, freaking out, reaching, exaggerating, taking it too far. Okay. Because they're losing. They lost. You lost, you lose, you were losing, you lost. Your great white hope, your God, Caitlin Clark, looked pathetic, squirming and squealing. You didn't like the way it looked. And so you went over the edge. and you said it's your George Floyd moment. And as a result, Alyssa Thomas, death threats, racial epithets, terms, slang, insults hurled at her. And that's why Clea Copper right here said that, has anybody called and checked on Alyssa to see how she's doing? She's the innocent one in all of this, right? And so when you go to IG, you go to Alyssa Thomas, and you start looking at the comments, because they immediately ran to her comments. Now, this is a decoy account that I have, that I'm just using. So I'm not following anyone, actually. I just use this for like YouTube. But so as you can see, she turned off the comments. We pressing people's throats now, all of this stuff. She turned off the comments. She never turned off her comments before. She never disabled them. So you can see here, same thing. They ran to as many posts as possible to see which post did she forget to disable comments, because they wanted to run to her comments attacking her. Took off the comments. Dirtiest player in the league, blah, blah, blah. Turn off the comments. Turn off the comments. See, they ran to every single post. They ran to every single post to attack her. And only she can tell you what the DMs say. Only she can tell you what the DMs say. The DMs are probably insane. Death threats, everything. Who knows what they're saying in the DMs? Only she can tell you that. Right? So like that's what happened. That's what happened. And then I also got to say this to Jason Whitlock. I don't like, because Jason Whitlock doesn't know Alyssa Thomas. He doesn't know her game. So he's calling her a thug, and then he's saying, she's some middle linebacker and she plays an ugly brand of basketball. She was never talented. That's a lie. He doesn't know that she's playing with 2 torn shoulder labrums. He doesn't know that she used to bust threes in your face in college. She used to hit mid-range shots. She was pure. She's ambidextrous. She can shoot with the left and the right hand. This chick was lovely, nice, before she tore her shoulder labrums. Nice. And I often say, God had mercy on women's basketball, on the WNBA, because she would go down as the all-time leading scorer, one of the greatest defenders and rebounders. She would be virtually unstoppable if her shoulder labrums never got torn. God literally had mercy on women's basketball. I always say that about her. He had mercy. Now, should Alyssa Thomas have gotten a surgery all those years ago? Yeah, but she wanted to keep making money. And you can say that's vanity or that's selfish. She said she'll get the surgery done when she retires. But she's not going to take any downtime, any time off to get that surgery, because she got to get this money. She's going at the vote. She's trying to get the vote. And that's what it is. And so you could say, well, that's vain or that's selfish, and that's fair. But that's what she chose. She said she won't get the surgery done on her shoulders until she retires, because she's not going to stop getting this money. And that's what it is. And so as a result, she adjusted and adapted. So she does the one-hand push shots, and she attacks the rim with her patent spin moves and euros and drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. And she's driving and kicking or painting and spraying. She's paint and spray. And she figured out a way to get triple doubles with 2 torn shoulder labrums. Okay. So Alyssa would be murdering you. If you knew the Alyssa from Maryland before the torn shoulder labrums, like, you have no clue. You have no clue. So Yeah, it's just so Jason, that's for you. Just don't say things, do your research. Oh, damn, 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 damn. No, 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 no. No, bring that back. What am I talking about? Oh, I had that right. All right, yeah, let's go. Absolutely. Alyssa Thomas was an absolute monster at Maryland long before those shoulder issues defined her pro narrative. She arrived as a freshman in 2010, 2011, and immediately became a problem. 14.7 rebounds, 2 steals, earning ACC Rookie of the Year and all ACC second team honors. She scored in double figures in 28 of 31 games and led the Terps in scoring, rebounding, or steals constantly. Over her 4 years, 2010, 2014, she put up elite all-around numbers, averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.8 steals on 47.6 field goal percentage. Peaks 19 points, 10.9 rebounds as a senior when she led Maryland to the Final Four. She's still Maryland's all-time leader in points, rebounds, and double-doubles. She earned 3-time ACC Player of the Year, multiple All-American nods, and was a versatile forward who could score inside, rebound at a high level, facilitate, and defend. Opponents absolutely had to game plan around her from day one. Her shoulder injuries, torn labrum in the right in 2015, and she tore the one in the left in 2017, came in the WNBA and overseas play. She's famously played through both for years without surgery, which altered her shooting motion, hence the lower three-point volume and that unique release, but never stopped her from being an elite passer, rebounder, and competitor. Even with that, she's been a multi-time all-star, all-WNBA performer, and triple-double machine in the pros. Imagine prime Alyssa without the shoulder limitations. She was already a nightmare matchup. Terrapin fans knew it early. Imagine if she could hit those threes the way she used to at Maryland. The mid-range game. She would be virtually unstoppable. She absolutely would be a cheat code with that college level perimeter game intact. At Maryland, Alyssa Thomas showed real touch from deep in spots. Her best year was 42% in 2012-2013. Overall was 26 on limited volume. She had the mid-range confidence and the ability to stretch defenses, a bit as a 6'2 forward who already dominated inside with elite finishing, rebounding, and vision. The shoulder injuries, right labrum tear in 2015, the left labrum tear in 2017, forced her to switch shooting hands from natural right to lefty college shooter to primarily right-handed pro form, and drastically cut her range. She barely attempts threes in the WNBA, relying instead on that funky, compact mid-range release and bully ball drives. Imagine a healthy pre-injury version or magically repaired shoulders layering in. Consistent mid to long range pull-ups and spot up threes. Her already ridiculous playmaking, 5+ assists per game peaks, and defensive versatility. That bulldozer interior presence. Defenses couldn't sag off her or load up the paint without paying from outside. She'd be an even more unguardable mismatch nightmare. Think a more physical pass-first version of peak forward versatility with spacing. She probably have multiple MVPs and titles by now. She's still an all-time great despite it all. But yeah, that hypothetical what-if version is basically unstoppable. The injuries forced adaptations that made her uniquely tough, but robbed the league of an even scarier score. And that's what I said. So Jason Whitlock never saw her. Many of you never saw her at Maryland. Before she tore her shoulder labrums, she was unstoppable. Now, can you imagine with experience as a pro, perfecting her three-point shooting and all of that? I told people this years ago. It was as if God had mercy on women's professional basketball because Alyssa Thomas would have every record and there's no way you could ever stop her. You couldn't guard her. You couldn't stop her if he didn't give her. Listen, one torn shoulder labrum wasn't enough for God to balance the scales, to allow people an opportunity to break records, to set records. That God took both of her shoulder labrums from her. Both of them. I've said this years and years ago about Alyssa Thomas. God had mercy on professional women's basketball. He had mercy. Mercy. So Jason Whitlock, don't ever disrespect this woman. Look how tough she is. That she's playing with 2 torn shoulder labrums. And she's a Hall of Famer that way. Right? Don't ever play with her like that. Ever. Now, I do want to go to Emmanuel Acho, but I do want to show my girl one more time. I mean, this is just beautiful. And that's love. Let me go to Jason Whitlock. Well, actually, Emmanuel Acho. Let me just do Acho. I think is, let me see. All right, let's go here. So he went viral. He went viral, man. This thing got almost 3 million views. No. Where's that at? Don't tell me he deleted it. Did they force you to delete it? Tell me they didn't force you to delete it. That dude, that video had Emmanuel, did you delete it? Did they force you to delete it? Whoa, let me see. Whoa, he deleted it. Oh, no. It was on Speak. He put it on Speak. Not his own account. Okay, I was like, what? I'm like, whoa. Oh, it's Speak Easy. Okay, there it is. So that went viral. Here it is right here. You see this?
W with this
2.9 million views. 2.9 million views. 2.9 million views. That went viral. And he told the truth. He told the God's honest truth. That she's so toxic and her fans are so toxic, it's just not worth it. Because it's never going to get better as long as she's in his league. Right? It just won't. It won't ever get better. Now, Caitlyn could, if she wanted to, she could come out and tell her fans, stop, enough is enough, and just become a better person and all of this. But she's not going to do that. It's not in her spirit. It's not who she is, right? She would seriously have to do some deep digging and soul searching and get really close with God in order to make that change. But it doesn't, right now, she's not going to do that. That's not what, so she's a devil, and that's what that is. And so because of that, it will only get worse. It was terrible in 2024. It got worse in 2025 because they started to accuse the Fever of injuring her. It was ridiculous. And then they start blaming all of the black women in the league for being too physical. And then they start blaming Kathy for not letting her get away with whatever she wanted to get away with. That's why now you have the freedom of movement. So it was disgusting in 2020. And now in 2026, it's worse than it's ever been. And it's still the first half of the season. I told you guys in 2024, this won't ever get better as long as she's in this league. I said, what's the solution? Retire. Charge your worshipers, your fans, $15 a month to watch you have your own Caitlin Clark app. Charge them $15 a month to watch you shoot basketball by yourself in your driveway or at Carver Hawkeye. Don't join any other league because they're going to go to these other leagues and pollute those other leagues. All they want to see is you shoot. So they don't care about your teammates, your coaches, the team, the league, nothing. All they care about is you. Every time you pass the ball, they want you to get it right back. That's it. So all you have to do is give them what they want. Stream yourself, shooting in your driveway, shooting at Carver Hawkeye by yourself. It's really simple. And charge them $15 a month to see it. And that way, they don't have to watch this league that they claim that they hate so much and that they're only watching because of you. Go, leave. It's simple. It's really simple. You are a toxic person. Your spirit is contaminated with satanic forces, with devils, with demons, with damnable spirits. You have a unholy, unclean, unrighteous, filthy soul. And because of that, you're a terrible person. You're a toxic person. And your fans are toxic, evil, disgusting, abhorrent, repulsive, terrible people. They are a disease. That's why I call them STDs. They are a disease. And no matter where you go, they're going to become toxic to that league and to that team and to that coach, No matter, I don't care if you go to Europe. I don't care if you go to China. I don't care if you go to Australia. I don't care if you go to Unrivaled. I don't care if you go to Project B. They're going to bring their toxicity there. And they're going to engage in innuendo. And they're going to accuse coaches of things and your teammates of things and the league of things and the referees of things. It'll never get better because you have a bunch of satanic trolls, STDs, and you are loaded with satanic spirits. You are 1000% loaded with the devil. That's the way it is. So Emmanuel Ocho, he sees it. He's like, it's just not worth it. She's a terrible person. This isn't worth it. Get her out of here. Enough is enough. Get her out of here. It'll never get better. I was saying that since 2024. It won't ever get better. It won't ever get better as long as she's in this league. Get her out of here. Go, leave. Well, the ratings, we don't give a damn. The attendance, so we'll figure it out. I don't care if it take us 10 years to figure it out. We'll figure it out. Get that devil out of this league so all of you can leave with her. Go the hell away. Go away. We don't want you. Leave. And it's just that simple, right? 2.9 million views. Let's go to Jason Whitlock. So he's I don't like Obama. I don't like these people. He didn't do anything for black people. Disgusting, right? But anyway, so I don't care what he's talking about with them. It don't matter to me. But let's get to. So he's doing this. You know why Stephanie White is playing games. Boom, boom, boom. So he's on that. He's still talking about Stephanie. I want to get to the video. I think this is the one. This is pretty good numbers for him on Twitter. 152,000. These are solid numbers. Okay. And like that's what that is. Now, obviously, he's lost a lot of followers and subscribers because, you know, Caitlin Clark fans don't like it when you are brutally honest about her. When you tell the truth, they don't like it. They want you to paint this picture of her as being without flaw and everyone else is evil and she isn't. And that's the way they want it. And when you don't do it that way, they unsubscribe and they become horrible. They become even more horrible. And so that's what happened to him when he was praising and worshiping her, essentially, and using her to antagonize and troll black people and push narratives and agendas that benefited him so he can become more polarizing and controversial, because those are his two pillars of his success, becoming more polarizing and controversial, and it'll draw in a lot of engagement and blah, 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 right? So he was using her for that, and it was working for him. He was irritating, pissing off black people. White people loved it, and her fans loved it, and it worked out really good for him. And then he finally told the truth about her this year, and her fans didn't like it, and they start calling him horrible names and said he's a sellout, and they were finished with him, and a lot of them unsubscribed and unfollowed. They're not watching anymore. And so he's not going to let up now. And he's saying, you know, he built his career long before Caitlin Clark was ever born, long before Caitlin Clark was ever in high school. And so his channel was a very successful channel long before Caitlin Clark joined his league. And he's going to keep at it. And he don't give a damn if you subscribe or unsubscribe. And that's what it is. And he's finally going to tell the God's honest truth. He was holding back because, you know, it was working for him. If he praised her and used her to make black women look inferior and to push his agendas about lesbianism and homosexuality and DEI and woke and victimhood and all of these things, it will help him out. Okay. And like, that's what it was. And the moment he just couldn't take it anymore, he was like, this chick is petulant. She's childish. They're doting and coddling on her and babying her, which they're enabling that. And she's also not really that impressive. And she's doing stupid things on the court. And he's sick of it. And he finally says something about it. And they didn't like it because they want him to worship her the way they worship her. And that's what happened. And at this point, he don't even care anymore. He's like, I don't give a damn about your subs and views. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Because he was around long before Caitlin Clark was born, and his channel was around long before Caitlin Clark was in college. And like, that's what that is. So he's not going to give up, and he's sticking it to him, and he just won't stop. And now it's starting to work out for him in Emmanuel Acho because of what you did to Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner. And so now black people are turning around saying, I don't like Jason, but I support him on this. Or you have other black people saying, has hell frozen over? Jason Whitlock is seeming like he's on our side now. Or did Jason Whitlock just, say something that we all felt? And so that's what it is, man. And it's the same thing is happening with Emmanuel Acho. White people thought that people would just leave Emmanuel Acho, and black people are clinging on to him, even though they had issues with Emmanuel Acho. They like what he said because that's how they feel. And he finally had enough. He said, no, I'm going to call it out. She's a terrible person. She's bad for this league. And so like, that's what that is, man. So yeah. So I just wanted to talk about that. Just wanted to talk about that. Gotta love it. Look, and she has so much support in Phoenix. Phoenix feels attacked. Arizona feels attacked. Bring that back.
That was really good. Thank you. Thank you, Scorch.
This makes me want to play a baseball video game. I might have to install MLB The Show. Like, I love baseball. I love baseball. I do. I mainly love playing baseball and I love watching it in person. I don't really like watching it on television. But baseball holds a special place in my heart. I'm really emotionally attached to baseball. I just love it. I always say baseball is God's favorite sport. You know, you don't want to do anything horrible and negative in baseball, but baseball is just so pure. It's just, listen, I get emotional about baseball. I was a very good baseball player. I get emotional about baseball. And yeah, but I just don't like watching it on TV. It's just something about baseball on TV that's just not appealing. You have to actually be at a baseball game. So watch baseball games in person. It's so entertaining and fun and so beautiful. And then if you know how to play baseball or softball, it's just the best. It's so pure. It's so innocent. It's so fun. I keep telling people, baseball is like God's favorite sport. It just is. You know, so it's definitely not golf. I always tell people golf is God's least favorite sport, right? Because of what you do to build the golf courses and how you chase out the animals, their habitat, you chase them all away, most of them. Excavation, chopping down trees and all of this stuff. You're doing all of this stuff to this land, okay? Chasing away this wildlife, and also a man or woman can hit a tiny ball in a tiny hole. It's ridiculous. What you're doing to the land and what you're doing to the animals. And then that land could be used for other things, you know, like homes, apartments, hospitals, schools, right? Homeless shelters. It's just selfish. It's selfish. It's the most vain sport ever. And it's because of what you did to this land, to the animals, okay? Pushing them out. These animals are running on the road, getting run over by cars. You forced out the animals. You forced out a lot of birds, it's disgusting. And let's not even get into trees being chopped down and plant life and all of these other things. Also, you can hit a little white ball in a tiny hole. It's a problem. And that's why I say golf is... Now, I like golf video games. I'm very good. I'm very good. I like that. Miniature golf, I'm very good. Like, trust me, I'm great at golf, but I don't like playing golf at golf courses. I don't like watching golf. I don't respect golf. Okay. I'm just really good with golf video games and, indoor miniature golf. I'm great at it. Putting, all of that. I'm just elite at that stuff. But, that's just what that is. So yeah, baseball is his favorite sport. His least favorite sport is golf, right? The greatest team sport of all time is football. That's the greatest team sport ever is football, period. It's not even close, okay? You can't do anything without the offensive line, the quarterback and the running backs, right? Wide receivers, all of that. But the wide receivers open doors for running backs. The running backs open doors for wide receivers. The quarterback is responsible for distribution and orchestrating and conducting. The defensive line is responsible for the second and third level, but the third level also helps the defensive line, but the second level balances both. There's so much responsibility. And then let's not even get into special teams with the kicker and punter and how they can flip the field and change the entire game. But they're also responsible for tackles and even trick plays, running and passing and coverage and return. And they can flip a game. They can save a game. They could change a game. All three phases. Football is the ultimate team sport. I don't want to forget position coaches and head coaches, assistants and coordinators and tons of scouts and general managers. Like, football is the ultimate team sport. It's not even close. Everyone has to do extra. Sometimes the running back has to block for the quarterback. Sometimes the quarterback blocks for the running back. Wide receivers are blocking. Tight ends, you name it. Like, football is the ultimate team sport. It's not even close. But basketball is the most taxing sport. So it's very impressive because it requires you to play both sides, offense and defense, right? And so you can say basketball is the most impressive sport because you have to play offense and defense. You just have to, as a team, okay? And it's a great team sport. You're responsible for getting players open through screens and through cutting and clearing out lanes and inside out and high-low, low-high and transition and all of these different things. Basketball is nuanced. It's complex. It's sophisticated in many ways. And there's so much responsibility on players and coaches. Okay. And that's what that is. But football is the ultimate team sport. It just is. It's the ultimate team sport. Basketball, I would say, is the most impressive sport because you have so much responsibility as players and coaches because you're two-way players. You have to play both sides, and you don't do hockey substitutions like hockey. You're just in there, man. So soccer is a great sport. I don't like watching soccer on TV. I don't like watching soccer in person. I was a fairly decent soccer player. I just never cared for it. I could play it. I just didn't love it. So I wasn't really interested in soccer. And I don't really like it. I don't like watching it on television, but I like playing soccer video games. So I'm really good at that. So I like playing soccer video games. When I used to play soccer IRL, I was fairly decent at it, but I just wasn't interested in it. It just wasn't for me. So yeah, volleyball is a good team sport. I was a very good volleyball player. My sisters were great volleyball players. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, like that's sort of what that is. People told me I was the greatest football player they've ever seen. That just wasn't my path. That wasn't my path. But
yeah, man, that's the greatest football player I've ever seen. Like, yeah, basketball elite, elite at basketball, great at basketball. But my favorite was baseball. I just love baseball, man. I just love baseball. I love baseball so much, man. And I love baseball so much that I'm emotionally tied to baseball. I get emotional, seriously, about baseball. It's just the most beautiful thing. And I just don't like it on television. That's my issue. I think television just doesn't do baseball service, a good service. I think it does it a disservice. Television. Baseball is beautiful at the stadium. And then when you play it, I don't care if you're playing softball, it's just beautiful. Television, I don't think television helps it out. I just don't. So, like that's my issue is television, baseball on television. I don't like it. But yeah, that's my sport. So you say, what's your favorite sport? Baseball. What's your second favorite sport? I would probably have to say on television, women's tennis and women's softball. What's your favorite sport outside of that on television? I would have to say the National Football League. And then I would go with women's college basketball and the WNBA, right? But as an being an athlete, playing the sport is baseball. And then after that, I would say football and basketball, right? I mean, I'm talking about elite football player, elite as a running back, wide receiver. I was very accurate as a quarterback, as a defender, serious. But basketball, just extremely imaginative, creative, brilliant, clever, witty, flashy, innovative, creating new things on the fly. I was doing 360 layups before anyone was doing 360 layups. I was doing reverse 360 layups. It was, pretty serious, man. Pretty serious stuff, man. So it just that basketball was really vain to me. I didn't like it because it just felt vain to me. Everyone is just trying to prove something. And it wasn't really about team. Yeah, you're on a team, but you have teammates being vain and selfish, and you see your opponents also being vain and selfish. And I didn't like it because it's too much vanity in basketball. So I didn't like it. I was very great at it. I just didn't like it because it was so much vanity. It was so much vanity in basketball, especially men's basketball. That's why I fell in love with women's basketball. Just as a player, boys and in men's basketball as a player, regulation and then even off the court. It's just too much vanity going on. It's too much vanity, man. It just is. It's too much vanity. And I don't like that. So I prefer women's basketball as a spectator, as a supporter fan, more pure, fundamentally sound, right? Skilled, polished, comprehensive, right? That's what I like. Complex, sophisticated, nuance, polish, skill. That's what I like. And then I love how the women play with so much passion and emotion and intensity, more than the men did. And so I love that. And I love the complexity of it all. I love the whiteboard, the X's and O's of it all, the schemes, the strategy, the chess match. And it was less vanity. Now, because of name, image, and likeness, and now you can make all of this money in the WNBA, you're seeing more selfishness, you're seeing more vanity. The WNBA they want to be the NBA so bad that now they're copying off the NBA, and so the offenses are very basic and pedestrian and vapid, and so that's what you're seeing, and it's not impressive. They're running the same crap. It's disgusting, right? These coaches aren't ready. They're not ready yet to be coaches, but yet they're head coaches. And so you're dealing with incompetence and at times gross negligence. And so it's just what it is. And And in college is more pure right now than a WNBA. But you do have selfish players in college right now because they're trying to get name, image, likeness deals. So they're being selfish. So oftentimes I find myself enjoying mid-major teams or enjoying low-level P4 teams only because they don't have anyone on their team making a bunch of money, making very little money, if anything at all. And so you start watching these low-level P4 teams or you start watching mid-majors and you just see pure basketball. All right? No one is trying to do anything extra to get attention. They're just playing hoops, man. So, yeah, I'll watch major P4 teams. Absolutely, right? My favorite school, my number one school is Mississippi State. I've been with Mississippi State forever and ever. So that's my school. So, yeah, I'm going to watch the major P4 teams. That's just what it is. But when I watch it, I'm just seeing a lot of selfish play. Okay. But I still enjoy women's college basketball more than I'm enjoying the WNBA the last 2 years. Now, for me, I enjoyed the Indiana Fever last year, more than anything. And that was without Caitlin. It was pure basketball. I saw pure basketball and I saw a true sisterhood. And I saw women truly fight for each other and love each other. That's what I saw. Let me see. Joy Taylor says it's anti-competition for media outlets and commentators to say that Caitlin Clark needs to be protected and needs special privilege in the WNBA. Yeah, Joy, just clean up and get over, your addiction. She says she's addicted to sex. Get over that, and you'll be all right. Because your brother was a really good dude, man. So you'll figure it out, Joy. Just clean it up. Clean it up. But yeah, so with the Fever, let me actually go to the Fever. Yeah, with the Fever, I just really enjoyed the Fever last year, man. Without Caitlin, it was peaceful. It was beautiful. Everything was flowing the way it was supposed to flow. It was pure high quality basketball. And you really saw a true sisterhood. I mean, you saw a true sisterhood, man. Like these women really loved each other. They were protective of each other. They didn't know who was going to get injured, man. And so they just attached themselves to each other in a way where it was like a real family. Listen, for some of you who saw when Kelsey Mitchell went down, you saw the Fever players gather together and they look like that they've been through so much trauma already. And it was like, we got to go again. And Odyssey Sims said, I got you. And Aaliyah Boston, everyone just stepped it up. Aerial Powers, everyone, they start doing all the little things and almost beat the Aces, man. Like, they didn't know who was going to go down, man. You talking about Damiris Dantas not available for some weird concussion and Chloe Bibby gone and Sophie gone and Caitlin gone and Sydney Colson gone and Ari McDonald gone and then Kelsey Mitchell legs give out on her and she can't finish the game. And so they just dealt with so much, man. So much. They really became true sisters. You're depending on Shea Petty and all of these things. They truly became sisters. I think Shea Petty got injured too. Yeah. So like they were, man, that team was a very special team. I mean, that was a really, really special team. That was the most fun I had watching women's basketball in a long time. Last year, the Fever. And then watching the Fever without Caitlin Clark for this game in particular. The Portland game was nice, okay? I'm not mad at that. I enjoyed the Portland game without her. I did. But I really enjoyed this one the most. because these women really did look like sisters again. They really look like sisters again. Obviously, you saw Caitlin Clark looking jealous on a bench, but they really did look like sisters again, and they really had to depend on each other. Even though they were playing LA, who's missing key pieces, they did what they were supposed to do. You're supposed to blow out a bad team, and they blew out a bad team. And so I was happy for Stephanie White. That's why she was so emotional, so attached to Ty Harris. She's been with Ty Harris for a while. She helped Ty Harris develop her game when she was at Connecticut to improve it a lot, and she depended on Ty Harris at Connecticut, just like she depended on Veronica Burton. So she was happy to see that and to see where Ty Harris came from with the knee injury and all the work she's put in behind the scenes to get back. It was emotional for her, and that's what that was. And Stephanie and the coaches, they know the league. Everyone knows their value without Caitlin. And this is why you can't fire Stephanie. You can't get rid of her, right? She is arguably the most impressive coach in the WNBA next to Cheryl Reeve, right? You can give Cheryl Reeve a makeshift roster and she's going to get you to the playoffs. Okay, Sandy Brondello will stay in the playoffs no matter what her roster looks like, but Cheryl Reeve is just really impressive. You can give her a makeshift roster and Cheryl Reeve is going to get that team into the playoffs. And Stephanie White proved it last year. And then if you thought that, that's an anomaly, that's an aberration. Well, in 2 games this year, they blew out Portland, they blew out LA. Well, those are bad teams. Well, they did what they were supposed to do, blow them out. Caitlin is gone, they blew out both teams. So if you say Portland is a bad team, well, they did what you're supposed to do to bad teams, right? Blow them out. LA missing key pieces. They're a terrible team. So they did what they were supposed to do, right? They blew them out. Now, it would have been different if they barely beat those teams. No, they blew them out. And so Stephanie White and her staff, they look even more impressive. Like, you can't fire her. This isn't even the best roster in the league. And they're blowing these teams out, and you get the Aces with a depleted LA, and they're not blowing them out like that. Last time I checked, the Aces didn't beat LA by 30. Like, we can go back and look at the games LA played without Cameron Brink and Kelsey available, and these teams weren't blowing them out. And those teams have a better roster than the Fever, right? In terms of depth. And the Fever blew them out. Blew out Portland and blew out LA. I mean, that's just really impressive, but it doesn't get much more impressive than last year with a makeshift roster. Now, it can get more impressive if you win a championship. That's why I say, like, Vic Schaefer in 2017, 2018, with like one 5-star player on the roster. Everyone else are a bunch of 2 stars, 3 stars. He got like one or 2 4 stars, but that was impressive, especially 2017. And then you would have to go to Muffet McGraw with Notre Dame in 2018, and she's running out there with like 6 players, 6 or 7 players essentially. That was really impressive by Muffet McGraw. So like, you have to go to teams like that. You understand? You have to look at teams like that where it's like, wow, that's really impressive. That's really, really impressive. But, or you can go to Lisa Bluter, Iowa teams, okay, where you got, they had some, Hannah Stalky was a 4-star and Jada Jemfee 4-star, so they had some 4 stars, but they truly did. They had 4 stars on that team. But it was still impressive, right? That was still impressive. So you want to look at something like that, where it's like, wow, that was pretty impressive. They just didn't win it, but you can say that was impressive. That was pretty impressive. You could. So, but I would say, to me, in college, the most impressive I've seen was 2018 Notre Dame. That was the most impressive. It's not even close. And then you would have to go to 2017 Mississippi State Vic Schaefer, and they beat UConn and broke UConn's 111-game winning streak. and they only had one 5-star on the team, and that was Victoria Vivians. Everyone else were 2 stars and 3 stars. And Tiara was a 4-star, but she was mainly coming off the bench. So to me, 2017 was really impressive. And then 2018 with Notre Dame it don't even get any better than that. With Notre Dame, that was just added. That was amazing. And then in terms of pro basketball, you seriously would have to talk about the Fever in 2025. Even though they didn't win a championship, that was beyond impressive. Beyond impressive what the Fever did in 2025. And then now you got to start looking at Cheryl Reeve, what she's doing with Minnesota. I mean, with a rookie who's clearly the front runner for MVP and Rookie of the Year. Don't give me this Asia stuff. If you take Asia Wilson off the Las Vegas Aces, they're going to still win games. They're not going to win the amount of games they would if Asia wasn't injured. But if you remove Asia Wilson, the Las Vegas Aces will still have a winning record. Okay? Right? They just won't win as many games without Asia, but they will be winning games without Asia. Okay? If you remove Olivia Miles from Minnesota, it goes on a nasty losing streak, a filthy losing streak. And they would have to wait until Nafisa got back, right? So to me, this is some Candace Parker stuff. Rookie year, she won Rookie of the Year and MVP. Olivia Miles is, to me, she's the front runner for MVP. The front runner for Rookie of the Year and MVP. It's not even close. We just saw the Fever without Caitlin Clark, they could still win games. And we saw it last year. So she's nowhere near MVP level because she's clearly not the most valuable player in the league or on her team. How do we know this? This year, she was missing for 2 games and they blew out their opponents. Yeah, but they were terrible teams. That's what you're supposed to do to terrible teams, blow them out. We saw last year, without Caitlin, they almost made the finals. So it's clearly not Caitlin. You can remove Angel Reese from Atlanta. Atlanta still going to win games, right? You could subtract Alicia Gray. You could subtract Ryan Howard. They're still going to find themselves winning games. Probably not as much, but they'll still win games. Okay, especially when they get Bree Jones back. So you go across the board and you start looking at these teams. The only player who's the front runner for MVP for me is Olivia Miles, and it's not even close. It's not even close. It's Olivia Miles, period. Right? So, yeah, I would say this year, the most impressive coach this year so far is Cheryl Reeve. The most impressive team we're seeing right now is Minnesota Lynx. Right? But I got to tell you something. If Caitlin sits out again, if she's gone for the rest of the year, which would be great, right? Because her fans keep swearing that they're only watching because of her. Well, they claimed that last year and they kept watching. So they're really saying, we don't like anyone but her. We hate the Fever, so whatever. Okay, so let's sit her out for the whole year, for the rest of the year, for the rest of the season. I think that would be great, right? Because now we get to make them prove it and tell them to go the hell away. That would be great. But once again, Stephanie White is going to show you what she's capable of. And then the Fever in the playoffs again, right? And so that's all I'm saying. And I just enjoyed the basketball a lot better. It's just more fluid, man. It just runs better with it. It runs more smooth. It runs more smoothly without Caitlin. It just does. It just does, man. So, yeah. And these people are like, well, yeah, if she goes, then the ratings go and the attendance goes. I don't care. See, when a person is so toxic that you don't care that the ratings will decline, the ratings will fall and attendance numbers will fall, you don't even care anymore. That's when you know a person is so bad. That's when you know a person is so bad. Listen, I called her out in 2024 because I'm a Fever fan before I was a Clark fan. So, I called her out. You're screwing things up for my team. And so I called her out on it. Now, I'm the only one that ever made Caitlin Clark content, but I called her out on it. And then the fans are like, oh my gosh, you've changed, you're changing. And so what? On my God channel, I lost 3,000 subs in 1 week. Right? And so that's the way that went. But I don't care. Okay, I just don't care. And so that's what it got. You have fans in the comments when I had the comments up. I subscribed for Caitlin Clark content. I didn't subscribe to hear you talk about the Dallas Wings. Who the hell do you think you are? Let me mute you real quick. And that's what that was. Man, you changed, man. You changed. What are you talking about? I'm criticizing the way she's playing. And I'm giving solutions. As I'm being critical, I'm giving solutions. And you don't want to hear it because I'm not worshiping her. But you are. And so because I'm not worshiping her, you get mad and want to unsubscribe. But check this out. I just don't care. And that's the way it is. I don't care. Take your subscriptions with you. Take your views with you. I just don't give a damn. Right? And so you feel free. You feel so free. Right? You just feel so free. And it's just that's when you know that it's serious, when you don't care about subs and follows and views. And you just don't care, man, because you have to stay true to yourself. You have to stay true to yourself, and you got to get out the content you're supposed to get out and not the content they want you to give out. Right? This is my channel. It's not your channel, right? I started with 0 subs and boosted myself up long before Caitlin Clark was ever in college. I'm speaking about some of my other channels, hell, and even this channel. But as a result, you gain some, you lose some, you gain some, you lose some. And so that's the way that is. I just, it's not like Ben Daniels, who started out with 19 views and he does Caitlin Clark content and he blows up and he buries all of his old videos. And now he won't ever go against Caitlin Clark because she made him. She made him. KTV, she made him. Keep the Venereal, she made him, and Shadur Sanders made him. So he's nothing without those two players. Angry Fan, she made his sports channel. He's nothing without her. Now, he was doing battle rap stuff on his original channel, but that sports channel, she made him. He's nothing without her on that sports channel. Black and White Sports 2. She made him, essentially, right? 2024, he had 36,000 followers, subs, 36,000. Now he has 110,000. That's all because of Caitlin Clark. She made him. Oh, and by the way, him attacking black women like Andrew Reese and other black players and black legends. So, because white people love racism, they gravitated towards that. Boom. So he goes from 36,000 to 110,000 in less than 2 full years. That's how much white people love racism. Right? So she made him. She made Rachel Demita. Once Rachel Demita left 2K, her views fell off, subs fell off. She started talking about Caitlin Clark, boom. And then when she started making her a victim and making the black women the villain in her videos, she blew up and her channel recovered. So Rachel can't attack Caitlin because she helped recover her channel. She rejuvenated it. Rosalina Lee built her whole channel off of Caitlin and even called it From the Logo. So Rosalina Lee can't ever be honest, brutally honest about Caitlin Clark. She won't do it because Caitlin made her channel. Period. 100%. Her channel was built off of Caitlin. What's her name? Adrian Ross. Her channel was built off Caitlin. She started her channel attacking black people, trying to get rid of Black History Month, trying to get rid of Juneteenth, wanted to be Candace Owens, but she felt the only way she could do that was attack Candace Owens and to prove that no one could tap dance better than she could. Adrian Ross. She was trash. Views were garbage. And then she started doing Caitlin Clark videos and she blew up and she buried everything else. So she'll never go heavy at Caitlin Clark, telling the God's honest truth about her. about what she's doing on the court that's bad, okay? Or what she's doing as a person, her character. She'll never do it because Caitlyn made her channel, period. Okay? And so, like, that's just the way it is. That Come On podcast dude, Caitlyn built them. Now, he could say, wait a second, no, she built you. She built you, right? You were talking about a host of different topics in terms of sports, and it wasn't hitting on anything. Your MMA stuff wasn't hitting, your baseball and football, none of that stuff was hitting except Fever content, Caitlyn content, and you start messing around with women's college basketball, boom. Women's sports blew your channel up, especially Caitlyn. So he's not going to ever go after Caitlyn, truthfully. He's worshiping her right now. He's doubling down on worshiping her. Okay? If he stopped covering women's basketball and stopped worshiping Caitlyn, he's finished. Because no one cares about his baseball topics, his baseball content. No one cares about his MMA content. No one cares about his football content. They only care about women's basketball and Caitlyn Clark. And when he's attacking black women, making them try to seem inferior or evil or something. Like, that's what it is. So he's dead without Caitlyn. He's nothing. He's dead. In terms of YouTube, he's done. He's finished. And you can just go across the board, all of them. You can go across the board. You know, like, that's just the way that it is. You know? See, me, I'm the original. I was the only one outside of the WNBA doing WNBA content in 2013. That's when I started on YouTube. Now, I've been talking about the WNBA off of YouTube, right? I haven't been on Facebook since 2015, but on Facebook and on old Twitter and all of that. I've been, and then just IRL in real life, attending games and preaching to people about these games and coaching and all of this stuff. So I've been there, done that, right? But on YouTube, I started out in 2013, okay? And so I'm the original. I'm the original, man. So my channel, I've always talked about the WNBA. That's nothing new. That's long before Caitlyn was ever in high school. So, you know, my channel, WNBA, women's college basketball. Sometimes I used to talk about volleyball and softball. I would talk about tennis, women's tennis. I hate men's tennis because it's just too long. I would talk about women's tennis, hip hop, battle rap, technology, curriculum, politics, all sorts of things, religion, all sorts of stuff like that. So films, I would talk about films and things like that. So, you know, just different channels, multitude of different channels, man. So currently right now, I have 3 channels right now. My CFWB channel was gone, SSN, several other ones gone. But so right now I got 3 up right now. And this is the one I'm using for right now. And then when this goes dead or whatever, I'll just go to the other 2. And the other one, I'm using that one right now for Jaguars. So that would be like my Jaguars one, like, and UFL stuff. But this one right here, because my CFWB channel was gone, because they took away my SSN channel. So the CFWB channel was gone. And now I got this one, and I got 2 other ones. So I'm just focused on this one. And I got this one back when did I get this back? 8 months ago, 7 months ago? 7, 8 months ago. And the last time I had this channel was 6 years ago? So yeah, they took this channel away from me like 6 years ago. And they just gave it back to me like 7 months ago, I believe. So yeah, this is what it is. So boom. Talking about, and I used to cover video games, talk about video games as well. So like, that's what this is. So my channel was built on a lot of different topics, man. And like I said, anytime I want to talk about Caitlyn, I can, because I'm the one who introduced the world to Caitlyn outside of the Iowa Hawkeyes in the NCAA. I swear to God, no one made a single Caitlyn Clark video if you weren't the Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube channel. It was me and the Iowa Hawkeyes. That was it. No one else. And I made her content before she played her first game at Iowa. I was talking about Caitlin Clark. So I'm the original. The original. I was making Sophie Cunningham content when she was at Mizzou. Mizzou. So talking about Sophie a freshman year. Like, this isn't anything new. I was making Lexi Hall content when she was at Stanford. You know, I was making Alyssa Smith content when she was still at Baylor. I was making Kennedy Carter content her freshman year. So this isn't anything new to me. I can go different places. I can talk about different things. You know, these other people, they can't do that. They can't do that. You know, that's why I can live stream me playing video games. I can go there. I don't need to do that. It's slow motion right now. That's the way it is, but I can do that. That's what it is. I can make content about other teams. I used to cover every team. I used to go through every single team individually. Every single team, all of the time, for like every single game. You know, but that was on one of my other channels, not this channel. But yeah, like, that's just the way it was, man. That's the way it was. So now I don't do that anymore. I just try to bundle all of them into one topic, one video. So sometimes I'll make a video and just tell you about all 15 teams, right? I'll go through the coaches, their systems, and blah, 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 right? Normally, I would just cover each team all at a time, every team. I don't do that anymore. I'll just bundle them all together and break it down and give you the pros and cons and all of that stuff while giving solutions. And that's sort of the way that is. You know, you move on after a while. And then sometimes you don't really, YouTube has changed so much right now. The algorithm and what they favor and suppression or shadow ban suppression. And it's just wild on YouTube right now. It's just not the same the way it used to be. And so to exert so much and to spend so much time and energy and even money into covering all teams individually, and to see how YouTube is burying at least my content in ways, and in knowing that I'm the most hated person on YouTube, you know, so in terms of this women's basketball space, that's clear. It's just not worth it. So I'll just bundle all 15 teams into one video, and I might do several videos like that. That's just the way it is. You know, I used to, especially my Caitlin Clark videos, when she was a freshman and sophomore and all that, I used to make like mini movies, man, mini movies. And so, you know, I spend money on different apps for special effects and to develop films and things like that. And that's what I do, even to this day. You know, I got several apps that I spend money on monthly because I never know when I'm going to need them to put together something pretty amazing. And so I just keep it going. But sometimes I feel like it's not worth it. But I'm just like, I don't care, man. I just don't care. Now I just make videos for me and God, and to just get the word out. I don't care about nothing anymore. I don't care about views. I don't care about subs. I swear to God, like, I just make this stuff. I make the artwork for me and God, and just to get the message out. Like, no one can make thumbnails like me. I'm the very best at thumbnails. No one can do. I was the first one to do AI thumbnails. Not everyone is doing AI thumbnails. Like, no one can make better thumbnails than me. My non-live content, no one can do it better than me. I can literally make movies if I wanted to. I used to make movies. And so no one can do it, but no one is investing money into apps to help develop these things like I do. They're not doing that. They're not creative. They're not brilliant. They're not clever. They just aren't. And so they can't put things together. I mean, just look at this. Look at this cover photo. This is amazing. Look at Wnba Bonner at the top. Look at Alyssa Thomas. Like, this is absolutely phenomenal. They can't do it.
They can't even think of anything like this. I just inspired them. And they can't. Can't happen. Can't happen. And just something quick, literally, before I went live, I was like, okay, let me create this. And boom, like, they can't do this. They can't do this. They can't do this, man. They can't. And every single thing you see is me. This is my creation. And so, like, it can't happen. It can't. They can't duplicate it. It's just impossible. They can't do it, man. So there's levels to this, y'all. There's levels. There's levels. Major levels, man. Major levels. And so right now I just make content for myself. I just make content. Oh, this is amazing. Let me just make this. And then, you know, my father want me to share something, I'll share it. We'll go live, we'll talk about it and keep it moving. But this is really just for me, my creator, and to just get this message out. That's it. That's it. So even like when I put together like my battle rap stuff on me rapping, that's just for me. It's an amazing creative idea. I just put it out. Just put it out. I make videos for me right now. I just don't care anymore. I just make videos for me. And if I want to get the message out, I get it out. Right. And like, so coming up with different ideas. I got something I want to say right now for battle rap that I'm not going to say because I don't want to give anyone this type of material. It's pretty amazing. I don't want to do that. But so I'm going to keep that one to myself until I feel like, you know what? I'll let the world hear this. I'll put it out. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's just what it is, man. What it is. It's what it is. So, and then look, just me, Avril Lavigne with you and showing and made sure I showed the cover photo when I played that. So that's represents for Dewana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas. And there's levels to this. There's the backdrop, the score, the theme of it all. The instrumental music I'm playing, which is very cyberpunk, which is very futuristic. And to go with the theme, the art theme. And so of Alyssa and Caitlyn being the devil and all of that, the aesthetic of it all. And then I give you cyberpunk music, instrumentals. And so it's just the whole theme of it while playing the animation that I just created before I went live. There's levels to this. And purposefully played all of those instrumentals in a row because it matters. And then while I was out doing something, so I had to go do something and let the instrumentals play. And like, that's just what it is. Okay, so now when I make it public and I'm done, obviously you got to fast forward through all of those songs, but you can get to me talking, addressing this, but that was all about design. Hear the instrumentals, right? Watch the animation. Let me go take care of what I need to take care of, but those instrumentals are important. And then I switched it to Avril Lavigne about Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner. And made it vertical, and then you could see the cover photo. That's just what it is. And this is amazing stuff you're looking at right here. It's amazing. And you know how she chopped off the horns, man. And so you just come up with different ones you like the most. But for me, you know, like this is really my favorite one right here. All of this is my idea. Everything, every single thing you see, including the font, everything you see. I'm talking about the font on her jersey, on her hoodie as well. The type of hoodie, the color of the hoodie, her hair, how I wanted her hair to look, how I wanted the horns to look. Every single thing you see comes from me. This is my favorite right here. This is like my favorite one. But this is the one I used. I love this one. So this is also my favorite, but this is the one I used. And so as you can see, I got Alyssa now cutting off her horns. Okay. So I got Alyssa cutting off her horn. All of this is me. Everything in the background, the font from her hoodie to the font from my acronym and to everything. It's just the demons you see in the background, her hair, the way it's flowing, her eyes, the aesthetic, everything. That's literally all me. All me. You see, these people, they're unimpressive people. They're pedestrian. They're uneventful. They're unimpressive. They're vapid. Right? It's just the way it is. And so, yeah. And so I just sit back. I'm just looking at these basic thumbnails they do. I'm just like, y'all so basic. You are so basic. And everyone is now starting to do the same kind of thumbnail. Literally, if you start looking at everyone's thumbnails, like, why is all these thumbnails the same? It's just like everyone is copying each other. Let me see. Is YouTube loaded? No, it's not loaded. Like, if you start looking at these people's thumbnails, it's like, damn, why is everybody doing the same thumbnail? The same style, the same aesthetic. Everyone just copying each other. Like, that's the problem. It's like people aren't original. They're just not original. And so, yeah, prosaic people, man. And so for me, mine is just different. Mine is just unique. It's just unique. It's completely unique. Totally unique, man. So yeah, this is also one of my favorites, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. This is another good one. Everything you see, which I used this for the actual thumbnail when I went live earlier. I really enjoyed this one a lot, but this one, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This one right here. This is absolutely my favorite one right here. But I love this one. I love this one too. So yeah, just putting them together, man. Putting them together, finding the ones that work best, that I really wanted to use, right? So this is another one this is me building on the concept of what I wanted. And everything you see, her hair, how she's moving, the lightsaber that I decided to change to a hatchet lightsaber. Literally everything you see on her shoulders, on her biceps, the wings, the hoodie, the pants, everything. That's me. That's all my idea. Every single detail. Every single detail. Right? That's being thorough. That's called love. That's when you love something, when you're diligent and you care about something. And nothing you do is prosaic. You understand what I'm saying? It's all very impressive. And so these people are lazy people. They're just lazy. So nothing is comprehensive. They're just lazy. And so they're all copying each other, copy and pasting the same thumbnails. They're doing cheap, lazy thumbnails, or it's just what it is. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. So it's just levels to this, man. It just is. There's levels and tiers to it, dog. So like, anyway, I just wanted to clear that up. Look how amazing this is. Just look at this. Look how amazing this is. This is phenomenal. So, yeah, let me get back to it. video. Go to my girl. This is phenomenal stuff. And yeah, let me get up out of here. I'm out. That's called love, y'all. That's called love. Hold on, let me see something real quick.
I'm standing on the bridge, I'm waiting in the dark. I thought that you'd be here by now. There's nothing but the rain, no footsteps on the ground. I'm listening but there's no sound. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't somebody come take me home? It's that damn cold night. It's 'cause nothing's going right and everything's a mess.